In this video, Elon Musk spills the bean and shares loads of juicy new details, including some insanely gigantic goals for Tesla. So if you're a Tesla stock investor, pay very close attention. Plus, SpaceX, Neuralink, Philanthropy, the age of abundance, Tesla bot, and plenty more. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. Well, when it rains, it pours. In the span of 24 hours, 2 new Elon Musk interviews dropping with Chris Anderson, this the second which took place at the Austin Gigafactory a day before opening. First, on the climate crisis. Elon Musk stressing that he is not a climate doomsayer. Quote, as long as we are not complacent, as long as we have a high sense of urgency about moving towards a sustainable energy economy, then I think things will be fine. So yeah, don't tell Greta.
How dare you?
Now some important comments on the world's transition to sustainable energy. Elon pointing out that the limiting factor is going to be battery cell production, and within that, obviously, the slowest element of the lithium-ion battery supply chain, which includes mining, refining, producing the cells, pack production, and so on, will be the limiting factor in battery cell production overall. Elon reiterating that he believes the world will need around 300 terawatt hours of battery to transition, after which it can begin breaking records in... moving on. And now onto Tesla's own battery capacity goals. And again, if you're a Tesla stock investor, make sure you're sitting down for this one. Elon confirming that Gigafactory Austin will likely reach around 100 gigawatt hours or more of annual production within a few years. Elon pointing out that 100 gigawatt hours is 0.1 of a terawatt hour, and said so with a gigantic smirk. Now, if I'm going to read between the lines here, I have a funny feeling Elon at that moment was thinking about the absolutely insanely gigantic scale that not only Tesla, but others will need to reach. Elon also shared a guess for Tesla's share of that. Quote, Tesla probably ends up doing around 10% of that, which would be 30 terawatt hours. This is absolutely ludicrous. I highly recommend for Tesla stock investors to do the math on this. What does that translate in terms of revenue? I guarantee your brain will explode. On full self-driving, Elon dropped a bombshell. Now over 100,000 people in FSD beta program. Just a couple of months ago, this was 60,000 people. This is an insane rate of growth. They had famous last words regarding when autonomy will be solved, safer than human drivers on average. I think this is the year. Let's see how well this ages. Let me know in the comments below. What's your guess when Tesla's full self-driving beta software will be safer than the average human driver? Is it 22, 2023, 2024? Never? Let me know below. Some more details on the Tesla bot and some of its longer term capabilities, doing things around the house like tidying up, making dinner, mowing the lawn, looking after your grandma, and so on. Don't worry about your mum, I'll take care of her. Elon was asked, in 2050, will there be a robot in every home? Elon responding, quote, yeah, I think there probably will. Now, again, as a Tesla stock investor, think about that for a moment. Do the math. Seriously, stop the video and run some numbers. Just imagine if Tesla gets a meaningful share of that. There's a few billion households on planet Earth today. What if Tesla bot ends up in 20% of these homes? Do the numbers. Again, be warned, your brain will explode. Elon also pointing out that he believes the Tesla bot will be capable of being very useful to consumers. Remember, it starts in factories doing boring, dangerous, repetitive jobs, but eventually ends up in homes. The point at which the Tesla bot can do useful stuff at home sometime within the next decade. Now on to the exciting future, the age of abundance, and how Neuralink ties in. Quote, this really will be a world of abundance. Any goods and services will be available to anyone who wants them. So cheap, it will be ridiculous. I know a lot of people have a hard time with this concept, but over the longer term, when we've got humanoid robots capable of doing useful labor and energy becomes effectively free because we have a superabundance, we've got plenty of battery storage, we've got solar, hydro, wind, etc. We have way more energy than we need. The marginal cost of energy effectively reaches zero. So what do we do with all that energy? Well, we can use this to create goods and services. There are massive implications. For more on this, check out the work of Tony Seba and co at RethinkX. And now onto potential future dangers. Quote, the dangers would be the artificial general intelligence or digital superintelligence decouples from collective human will and goes in a direction that for some reason we don't like. I refer you to the paperclip example. That's sort of the idea behind Neuralink. to try to more tightly couple collective human will to digital superintelligence, and also along the way to solve a lot of brain injuries and spinal injuries, etc. So even if it doesn't succeed in the greater goal, human-AI symbiosis, I think it will succeed in the goal of alleviating brain and spinal damage. Elon also stating aspirationally, Neuralink hoping for the first human implant in late 2022. They've already submitted their application to the FDA. Elon adding that AI-human symbiosis is at least a decade away. So for the intervening 10 plus years, Neuralink really focused on brain injuries and spinal damage. Elon also detailing that he believes that Neuralink may be able to solve severe depression, morbid obesity, sleep issues, potentially even schizophrenia, maybe even restoring memory in older people. Big question I have is whether or not Neuralink at some point in the future might be able to solve whatever's gone wrong in the brains of the people who've ever thought it was wise to short Tesla stock. The jury's still out on this one. That is quite a project. And some rough numbers regarding a Mars colony. Elon reiterating we'll need around 1,000 starships and about 1 million people to develop a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. Chris Anderson asked Elon a great question. We just launched the James Webb Telescope, by the way. Shout out to all the astronomy nerds. I've been waiting for this thing for most of my life. I don't mean most of my adult life, I mean most of my life. This thing was announced, I think, back like 1996, soon after Hubble went up. Delay after delay after delay. Anyway, the point, given its scale and launch capabilities, in theory, Elon Musk says ballpark, you could probably launch a telescope with about 10 times the resolution of the recently launched James Webb Space Telescope. Elon and Chris also discussed the idea of dropping a submarine onto Europa. And just for the record, this is a project that I would be interested in personally funding. Not in full, I don't quite have the resources, but I'm super keen on this. This is the most obvious place to look for life within our solar system. Beyond Earth, that is. I'd love to see a similar mission to Enceladus as well. Elon also shared some incredible insights into headcounts at each of his companies. The stunning thing here is the resourcefulness. Just think about this. Tesla, a mere 110,000 people. I know that sounds like a lot. When you think about what they've already accomplished and how few of these people are public facing, you've got data labelers, software engineers, AI experts. You might think for a car company that's a lot, but for what Tesla's doing, this is tiny. SpaceX, absolutely fucking mind-blowing. A mere 12,000 employees. A round of applause to every single one of SpaceX's employees. This is incredible. A team of just 12,000 people completely disrupting the launch industry. It's stunning. But the real mindfuck, at least for me, both Neuralink and the Boring Company, each less than 200 employees currently. You know Neuralink, the whole telepathic mind pong with the monkeys and the pigs, the implants, the demo. Yeah, they had less than 200 people at that point. They have less than 200 people today. And the Boring Company, the same thing. They have a number of commercial projects underway and or completed already, yet just a few hundred employees. It's nuts. This is resourcefulness embodied. But please don't tell Senator Karen the Robert Reich, who's also a Bernie Sanders, who's also a or any of these other virtue signaling, voter pandering, left-leaning psychopaths who claim that Elon Musk is a leech on society, should be paying his fair share of taxes and completely ignoring the 100,000 plus people his companies directly support. Never mind the 500,000 plus people his companies indirectly support, like suppliers, contractors and so on. We can definitely ignore the economic impact, the income tax paid by those 100,000 plus employees over years and years and years flowing into local areas. Now let's ignore that, it's irrelevant. Because we need to tax the rich, billionaires are evil, and I want some of your money because I deserve it. And now some very insightful comments on the topic of philanthropy. Quote, I think if you care about the reality of goodness instead of the perception of it, philanthropy is extremely difficult. SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink and the Boring Company are philanthropy. I think a lot of people will have a difficult time with this, and that's one of the downfalls of having a tiny brain. If you don't know, the word philanthropy literally means love of humanity. Quote, if you say philanthropy is love of humanity, they are philanthropy. Tesla is accelerating sustainable energy. This is a love. Philanthropy. SpaceX is trying to ensure the long-term survival of humanity with a multi-planet species. That is love of humanity. Neuralink is trying to help solve brain injuries and existential risk with AI. Also, love of humanity. And Boring Company is trying to solve traffic, which is hell for most people, and that is also love of humanity. This is one of the things that most astonishes me about Elon Musk's critics. You know, the self-hating basement dwellers who say things like, Elon Musk should solve world hunger instead of building rockets, and so on and so on. That being said, in fairness, there probably are two requirements for grasping this simple concept. One, functioning grey matter, and two, a heart. Something severely absent in most, if not all, of Elon's critics. And this is a very important concept to understand. It is extremely hard to do philanthropy effectively by giving money to others, to give money to organizations or charities. Elon's doing the right thing with his capital. Don't get me wrong, most people are unaware, but Elon Musk actually donates an incredible amount of money where necessary. Of course, the media is never interested in covering this stuff, but the truth is, the best way for Elon Musk to deploy his capital is through his own labor, his own companies, his own endeavors. Elon isn't in it to make money. Elon isn't in it for fame. Elon is simply trying to do the maximum amount of good while he's alive. And now some quotes to wrap things up regarding aggressive timelines. Quote, "There's sort of like a law of gaseous expansion for schedules, where whatever time you set, it's not going to be less than that. It's very rare that it'll be less than that." In other words, tight timelines are important, and I'm sure everyone watching can relate to this. Think of a time in your life where you needed to get something done instantly, and somehow magically you were able to do so in a fraction of the time it would normally take you, because you didn't have any extra time. There's nothing like a deadline. On Elon's failed predictions, and this is a great one. Quote, "I've had a long career in multiple industries. If you list my sins, I sound like the worst person on earth. But if you put those against the things I've done right, it makes much more sense. So essentially, the longer you do anything, the more mistakes that you'll make cumulatively, which, if you sum up those mistakes, will sound like I'm the worst predictor ever. If there's some radical technology, the point is not that it was a few years late, but that it happened at all. That's the more important part. And it's hard to argue with that. Although this is something the haters just don't seem to get." An amusing quote here regarding SpaceX remaining a private company. Elon Musk pointing out that, quote, "Making life multiplanetary is outside the normal time horizon of a Wall Street analyst, to say the least." Can you just imagine if SpaceX was a publicly traded company? The analysts would be losing their fucking minds. Everyone would have a sell rating on this stock, like every analyst, bar none. If you're lucky, they might be looking out 3, 4, maybe 5 years into the future, whereas SpaceX, we're looking at 3, 4, 5 decades out into the future for a meaningful return. Elon also discussed things that make sleeping difficult. Quote, "The thing that does make sleeping difficult is that every good hour or even minute of thinking about Tesla and SpaceX has such a big effect on the company that I really try to work as much as possible to the edges of sanity, basically. Not recommended, unless of course you have extremely compelling missions to accomplish." Elon continues, "Because Tesla's getting to the point, probably will get to the point later this year, where every high quality minute of thinking is $1 million impact on Tesla. There are many instances where I was able to improve the financial outcome of the company by $100 million in a half-hour meeting." Let that one sink in. And finally, on the future. "I think if you want the future to be good, you must make it so. Take action to make it good, and it will be." Words of wisdom. Some fantastic insights here, especially for Tesla stock investors. All you need to do is run the math. What do you mean? 10% or 300 terawatt hours? What does that actually mean? A bot in every household in the future? What does that actually mean? If you take the time, you'll understand the implications here are truly stunning. As always, there's a link in the description of the full interview, which I highly recommend you check out. Runs for a little over an hour. Just wanted to share some of my highlights and key takeaways. My favorite thing in this entire interview was Elon Musk pointing out the obvious. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink and Boring Company are philanthropy. Who'd have thought? Loving humanity, trying to make the future better, providing your brain's big enough, is even more financially lucrative than just trying to make money and not do any good. And finally, don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. You'll gain instant access to my Tesla stock price targets all the way out to 2031 in the bear case, the base case, the bull case, and the hyper bull case, plus access to over 100 pieces of exclusive content on every topic you can imagine, plus loads of other perks. So, I'll see you over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.